Back to My Garden, episode 81.
Welcome to Back to My Garden. Discover your passion for gardening. Here's Dave Ledoux.
Do you love homegrown tomatoes? Free Report reveals the 5 dirt cheap tools I use to grow 22 types of heirloom tomatoes, including my secret soil booster. Download your copy for free today at www.backtomygarden.com/free report. Are you concerned about toxic chemicals, GMOs, and frankenfood? Don't panic. Grow organic. Discover my new resource for organic gardening. Go to www.backtomygarden.com/myorganic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world when you listen to this. I'm Dave Ledoux, and welcome to another episode of Back to My Garden. And a tremendous guest today, folks. We're going all the way over to England. Dan is a professional horticulturalist near Winchester, England. He's the UK World Skills Landscape Gardening Champion in 2013, an RHS Chelsea 2014 Gold Medalist, and a Young Hort Ambassador. We have a ton to talk about. I'm fighting way out of my weight class on this one, folks. It's going to be exciting. So without any further ado, near Hampshire, about an hour and a half southwest of London, England, please welcome the show, Dan Handley. Dan, I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Dave. Hi, good to be here.
I gave a little bio, a background on you. My good sir, you are intimidating for a guest.
No, definitely not. No, not at all.
In the world of horticulture, you're the champion. That's impressive.
Well, the landscape gardening, it was a great experience. I was lucky enough to take part in it. My tutor from college just entered me into it at the spur of the moment. I had no idea I was doing it. I managed to get all the way through to the national final, where I was teamed with another Dan called Dan Brennan, who also won it with me. And we had to build a show garden in 18 hours over 3 days, which was extremely hard. It was well worth it.
Wow. Good thing you're young and can handle the stress.
It was probably physically the hardest thing I've ever done, I'd say.
Wow.
It was very sweaty.
The listeners want to know, Dan. Now, mind you, there's about 36 different countries listening to this all over the world. How did you get into gardening?
How did I get into gardening? I suppose I actually started off in farming down in Devon, right down south of England, on a small sustainable farm called the Husbandry School. It's just a small holding and supplies local restaurants with produce and also has sheep, pigs and cattle. I suppose I went there for work experience, it must be 5 years ago now, and absolutely loved it. Just loved being outside, loved working with all the animals and growing all the produce and everything. And that kind of infused me to want to have a career outside, just working on the land. And I suppose I originally wanted to go into the farming side of it with livestock. But over here, it's quite a hard trade to get into unless you come from a farming background. So I was already interested in growing crops and everything. So I thought, why not, follow up a little bit, go to college and study horticulture and see what comes out at the end of it. And I've now just finished 2 years at Sparsholt College in Hampshire, studying extended diploma in horticulture, which is absolutely amazing. And I suppose that's what got me into it, really. And now I absolutely love it. And I'm a full-time gardener, garden designer, landscaper, self-employed.
Very good, sir. A lot of parents listen to this, Dan, with like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds. And there's a real problem here in North America with kids going off to university and taking on tremendous debt, like huge student loans for a degree they can't even get a job with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly the same here. It's exactly the same.
What would you say to the parents who think, they want their kids to wear a shirt and tie and sit in an office. Well,
Yeah.
those jobs are gone. What would you say to those parents?
I'd say, it all depends on the child and how, everyone likes being outside at some point. I think horticulture is definitely a career that is kind of pushed to the background. But really, instead of, I would say, there's as much scope in horticulture as there is in probably any trade or any kind of business. You can go as far in horticulture as anything else, and you can go to universities and study horticulture as a degree and everything. So you can do your full 3 or 5 years in it. I suppose it's a job that's really is almost frowned upon as a job, just as a handyman gardener to go into. But I think a lot of people don't realise how wide it is and how varied it is. You could study horticulture and you could come out as a garden designer or a landscaper or a gardener or a biologist or a botanist. So it's really, there is so much into it that not a lot of people really know, which is a real shame.
Brilliant. So you come out of university and you're starting, I guess you're an entrepreneur. Do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur?
No, not really. I suppose I didn't go to university. I just went to college.
College, okay.
Which is the next stage up from school as such. So it's what I did was equivalent to A-levels. It was just a 2-year course, and I learned an awful lot on it, and definitely enough to set up my own business, which is what I have done. It's quite hard to start off with. It's quite hard to get your head around everything, doing all the paperwork that goes behind it. But it's really, really nice, and it's very satisfying as a career, definitely.
Yeah. A bunch of my friends went to university to become dentists. And my friend told me, says, you graduate with a huge debt and 0 customers. And so you have to go out and get every single customer to be a dentist.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so
I suppose in horticulture, and if you're going to do what I do, kind of gardening and garden design, if you think how many big houses there are around every city, there's always going to be work somewhere or other. And there's lots of people, even just in my area, that do the same thing. But there's still the work out there just because of how many houses there are and how many big gardens there are and how many people need the help and need a professional to come and help out, really.
Nice. What do you think is your strength? What do you love to do in the garden?
That's quite a hard one. I suppose at the moment I do see myself more as an all-rounder than a specialist in one area. So I do kind of like to do all the designs and try my hand at bits of landscaping here and there. It's quite hard as I'm just a one-man team at the moment to do anything bigger. But hopefully I should be employing some more people come this summer, hopefully. But I think it's so varied that you shouldn't really get tied down unless you really, really find something that you really enjoy and you want to specialise in, and then you can really aim for something. But at the moment, I'd say I'm quite an all-rounder, and I enjoy most aspects of it, really.
I guess that's really useful when you're doing a client's garden, because you know how plantsmen, they're real specialized. They know every Latin word of every shrub.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're outside and it's drizzling rain and you're digging a hole, the Latin's not going to help you, is it?
No, exactly.
Very good.
And, I think it's good to be hands-on as well.
How old did you say you were?
I'm 21.
21. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow. Would you encourage young people getting into horticulture to compete at the level you did? Was it stressful? Is it something you'd want to do again?
Yeah, I definitely would. It is, as you say, it's very, very stressful. There is a lot that goes into it. But it's definitely worth doing, because it's almost pushing yourself to your limits and seeing how good you are against the best people that have the same interests as you as well, and the same skills and everything. I think it can make you stand out amongst other people if you have that under your belt. It's a great achievement to get.
Wow. I guess there must, you're tired, you're stressed out. Is it easy? You're working with another partner. Is it hard not to bite their head off or like have fights?
Yeah, yes, it was it was very hard. I think me and my partner Dan, we did do really well together, and we didn't really argue or shout at each other that much. We got along quite well. I think that's because we were very good at planning everything that we knew that we had to do kind of each day. We set out like a time scale of exactly what we had to do. So we both knew what each other was doing, and then we kind of helped each other out when we needed it, but we knew exactly what we were doing, so we didn't really need to change what we were doing as such. I think all the planning and prepping was what probably made us stand above the others at the time.
Nice. For those of you following along at home and listening in, make sure you follow Dan on Twitter. Dan has an active social media at Daniel Handley 7. So DANIEL HANDLEY 7. And I'll have all the links and resources that Dan shares up on the show notes at BackToMyGarden. Hey, Dan, can you give... we have a lot of beginners listening who live in cities. And so their space is incredibly tight, like little patio gardens. What are some common mistakes you see people make when they have small spaces when they're designing their garden?
If they've only got a small space, naturally put a plant in that's going to be too big for the space. They see it how it is in the shop they buy it from, or the garden centre. I think it's going to stay like that, and obviously put it in a couple of years, it's outgrown its space, and then they're going to have to get something else to put in to replenish it. So I suppose pick what's going to grow in your area well. Look at what you've got to grow it in, what kind of containers or pots, if it's just on a balcony or in a small courtyard garden. And really, try and go for plants that are all going to match each other and that aren't going to outgrow each other. So they're all on a level playing field and they'll all just come together as such. I'd say kind of also don't ignore veg and fruit as well. Even if it's in containers, you can still grow produce pretty much anywhere if you have the right container and the right soil for it. That's
my big thing. I love the edibles. And, heirloom tomatoes from varieties from 100 years ago.
Excellent.
So ugly looking, they're just grotesque sometimes. Because what's that big supermarket you have, Tesco?
Yes, we have Tesco.
If you go to Tesco, every tomato is identical.
Oh, yeah, they're just the same. They don't do any unusual or any varieties that no one's ever seen before, unfortunately. Yeah.
And they sort of taste like cardboard, sawdust because they're grown in a hothouse.
Yes, exactly.
You're in a fairly unique climate, too. You're a lot of North Americans always think of England like it rains every day and it's cold and dreary, but you're not like that at all where you are. What's the climate like for growing?
Well, it is wet and gloomy most of the time. It changes. It does change pretty quickly and constantly. We've had the last few winters have been very wet. We are due a cold winter, hopefully at some point. Just because we've had a lot of flooding in the last couple of years, which has made it hard for gardens to grow. The plants that they usually always grow, because they're just getting waterlogged. Around Winchester, where I am, the soil is very chalky, which makes it quite hard to grow some plants in. In the climate, it is very wet. That is, it does sum England up very wet.
Talk to me about that chalk soil. Do you have to pick a plant that can handle the chalk, or do you try to put nutrition back into the soil?
Yeah, personally, I would try and change the soil as such. There's not a whole load of plants that will do well in chalky soils. It's also, it's very hard to work with and hard to dig, as you've got all these lumps of chalk that are just actually in there. So I would try and, if I was planting a plant as such, I would dig a hole, 3-4 times the depth and the width of what it has to actually be, and then just fill it back in with either nice topsoil or mix in organic matter or some kind of manure or something or other to suit the plant I'm putting in, because otherwise it's very, very alkaline, and it's difficult to keep very fertile. The chalk soil, as it's very, very free draining, so the water just runs straight through and takes any nutrients out of the soil, which obviously is going to be pretty poor growth for any plants.
I didn't know that. Very good. I'm taking notes, by the way, in case you hear me scratching. I'm writing stuff down for the show notes.
Okay, no worries.
Remind me, over in Devon, is it mostly sheep and horses or cattle?
In Devon, yes.
So you have access
sheep,
to sheep manure a lot.
Yes, yeah. There's you can always find a local farm somewhere or other that's got too much manure, so it can be quite easy to pick up if you know the right people. That
was one of the earliest mistakes I made when I started gardening. My wife's very good at it, but a friend got me some horse manure. Yeah. And he said, "Oh, just put this horse manure in your garden." Well, it was still steaming hot.
Yeah.
And I was, being Canadian, we're the politest people on earth, I think, besides maybe the Swedes. Like, I didn't want to say no to free manure, but it was way too young.
Yeah, of course. You got to let it mature.
It was burning everything. I wouldn't want to grow in that. Yeah, it was horrible disaster. No. So I learned very quickly to be more selective on my manure. Yeah. Oh, no, it's a very good fertilizer overall. But yeah, as long as it's not too ripe as such. Now, Dan, you're working a lot. You're a busy guy. Did you get a chance to garden yourself this year? Not as such. Not for my own self. I in Winchester I lodge with a family who have a really nice garden, and as kind of one of my clients and as my landlord, I do their garden. So it's kind of I feel like I have some ownership over it, but it's not actually my garden. But no, I don't have my own garden, unfortunately. Well, one day when I have my own house. At 21, I don't expect you to have your own estate just yet, Yeah, this is Weasley. I bought it just the other day, So you have it would be weird if you had a landlord and he didn't let you touch his garden. Yeah, no, they're more than happy for me to have a go on it. Vegetable or flower, or a bit of everything? A bit of everything, yes, yeah. Okay, very good. And what frustrated you this year in the garden, and what worked exceedingly well? That's kind of hard on. What frustrated me? Crikey. Probably my lawn, actually. It's just very, very mossy this year. I think that's probably because of all the wet weather we've been having. It's not luscious and green as it usually is, but it's got quite a big proportion of moss in it, which is a bit of a pain. Wow. I suppose what's worked this year, in particular, the asters were very good this year in my garden. Lovely little purple flowers that come out at the end of the summer, and they're very nice for being the only thing kind of in flower towards the end of the summer, early autumn. They really just pick up the garden again as everything else starts to go downhill. When you told me about your lawn, you made me... I'm going to share a story with you, okay?
Yeah.
If you ever picture a map of North America, there's a cluster of lakes kind of in the top corner called the Great Lakes. And I kind of live on the north shore of one of those lakes, Lake Erie. And this weird crane fly comes out in the fall, and they don't bug you, they don't bite, but they kind of fly around, and they lay their eggs in your lawn, and they turn into grubs in the spring, like little maggots in your soil. No big deal. They kind of eat the roots of your grass and kill your grass.
Yes, yeah.
The thing that eats these grubs are skunks. And
really?
So people are spending money on their lawns, and then they wake up the next day, and it looks like their lawn's been shredded by a backhoe. And it's, mated pairs of skunks will come in and destroy a lawn to get the grubs in your lawn.
Oh, no way. Okay.
And what are you going to do? You're going to run out and chase away a skunk? So it's a real problem around here.
We have a problem, yeah. Oh, no, we don't have that over here, luckily.
Yeah. I think the foxes have eaten all your skunks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Very good. Let's take a minute to thank our sponsors and then come back and play 5 quick questions. What's the hottest trend in gardening? I think the hottest trend is aquaponics. Can you really grow a massive garden powered by fish? Find out more and discover the secrets to building fish-powered gardens at www.BackToMyGarden.com/fish. Attention, garden lovers. Do you want to save time, save money, and have your most incredible garden ever? Receive free tips, strategies, and gardening techniques from passionate gardeners around the world. Join the VIP club for free today at www.backtomygarden.com/VIP. I was glancing at the clock. The time is whipping by, Dan, and now's the time in the show where we play a game called 5 Quick Questions.
Yep. Okay.
This is where you share your wisdom and experience with brand new rookie novice gardeners. Are you ready to play?
I think so.
All right. Question number 1. What's the funniest mistake you've ever made in a garden that you're willing to admit to publicly?
Oh, crikey. This isn't going to be very quick. I can't think of any, really.
If you're winning gold medals, you're not making too many mistakes.
No, I think I've got one. I think setting a lawnmower to a really short cut, too short a cut, and then going over the lawn and just completely scalping it. Probably only for a little bit before I realised it was on the wrong setting. I think that's probably the most. That's probably the worst thing I've ever done. Yeah. It did recover within a few days. But
were you trying to save time? Was that the idea? I'm going to cut it really short?
Yep.
Yeah, I understand. Very good. That was one of my first jobs. I had a lawn cutting business in high school.
Really? Yeah.
Question 2. What's one of the skills you have in the garden that you're particularly proud of? One thing you're really good at?
I would probably say probably planting and doing designs with plants that that look really good together and just go together, and try and make them their best and kind of bring out the whole garden. Really, I think it can be quite simple. As people often overcomplicate that. Mm. And I'd say that's probably quite a good strength, just to know what plants go together well, kind of.
Help me understand this. To me, it's like a magic power, like writing music or painting. I don't understand how to do it because I don't have that skill. Is it in your head?
I don't think it's something. I'm not sure if you can learn it as such. I think it's just looking at 2 plants together and thinking how they're going to go together, and then how to position them, and kind of what textures you've got to go together, and what colours, and obviously when they come into flower as such. I think it's just experimenting more than anything, and then it either works or it doesn't.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. So you just try it until you figure it out. That's good.
Well, yeah.
Question 3 is about the internet. Do you have any websites that you would recommend, any blogs or gardening resources that you look at online?
I definitely use the RHS website.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good for plant identification and anything to do with plants, really. If you don't know a plant or if you don't know when to prune it or what soil condition it needs as such, I use the plant finder on the RHS quite a lot. It's very, very handy.
Cool. Question 4 is the old school gardening books. Do you have a favorite gardening book?
Yes, I'd say I do. I have the expert books by D.G. Hessian.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole range of them. I think there must be about 15 of them. I've got the complete collection that I keep in my work van at all times. They're only thin books, so they're easy to carry around. So you've got kind of like the bulb expert, the fruit expert, the lawn expert. So it covers pretty much everything you need to know, and it's just the basics and the most common kind of plants that you'll need, and all the techniques that you need, just in case if anything ever comes up and I'm unsure of it, then I've always got those with me. Nice.
Question number 5 is a fun one. Is there anything that you've never grown, you've never had any experience growing, but you really want to try it, like experiment with it next year?
Maybe some kind of exotic fruit. It'd obviously have to be in a greenhouse. Not really sure. I haven't really grown many. I haven't really grown any kind of fruits. Maybe kind of melons or something like that. Something that you don't usually grow over here. So it'd be quite a good challenge to, even in a greenhouse, to try and get it to work. No, I've never really grown anything too exotic.
Okay.
So that would be quite a good challenge to set, I think.
Nice. Question 5B, for somebody who's brand new, what's something every brand new gardener should try to grow next season as a starting point?
If they in their own garden?
Yes, in their own garden.
As a starting point, anything, something quite easy to grow. Maybe people could try a small patch of wildflower meadow, which it needs no nutrients in the ground or anything. Even prefers quite poor ground, so you wouldn't have to prepare it in any way at all. You just sow the seed, and you get beautiful flowers. And it's also really good for attracting insects and bees. And yeah, it's really pretty and quite simple to do, really.
I love that answer. Over here in North America, you have a lot of big cities in really rough shape. And there are vigilantes, guerrillas that go around throwing wildflower seeds out of car windows into parks.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, to beautify the space. And cities are all indignant and outraged, but the citizens are loving it.
Yes.
I love it. That's great.
Wow. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of halfway between two cities, Toronto and Detroit. And Detroit's a city that was once upon a time 2.5 million people. That's now 500,000 people. It's just decayed to the point of no coming back. And so they're trying to beautify the space. I want to ask you, Dan, what are your plans for next year for your gardening career? What are some of the things you want to accomplish?
Next year, so I definitely want to try and take on a couple of staff, a couple of employees to work alongside me or with me. Because obviously you've got to try and branch out your business a bit. I don't want to stay as a one-man team forever. I'd also like to try and do, if I can do that, then I would like to take a step back and try and do more of the design work instead of the hands-on work as such. That it can be very hard. It is very hard. So it'd be nice to break it up a little bit more, if possible, and definitely get some more designs done. I think that's my plan for next year.
Nice. Do you have a name for your company?
It's Handley's Horticulture and Landscaping.
Beautiful. For those of you listening in, hit up Dan on Twitter at Daniel Handley and the number 7. You're on Facebook? Or do you prefer Twitter?
I am. Yeah, I prefer Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Everything horticulture.
Yeah, that's true. You're only 21. Facebook is for us old people.
No.
You're probably too young to remember MySpace.
I'd never had that.
Yeah, that was like before Facebook. One day it was hot and one day it was not, and everyone just dumped it. Yeah, I've been around the internet as long as you've been alive. I started on the internet in 1994.
Really, yeah.
It was very strange back then.
I bet it's a lot different from what it is now.
Well, we would dream about having our own internet radio shows and having these tools and toys to reach all over the world. And, with Twitter, you reach all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wouldn't be speaking to you now if it wasn't for Twitter.
Incredible. Dan, you've been a brilliant guest. Good luck in 2015 with all your business growth. Very much. I want to give you the last word to the listeners today, okay? Can you leave us with either a note of encouragement or a pearl of wisdom in our gardening adventures?
Okay, yeah. I think it's a great industry to get into. I don't think you'll look back if you do try going into it as such. There's so much you can learn from it, and it's very, very satisfying. I think you just got to go with the thought that you really do get what you put into it. You get back out of it, and you can't make many mistakes. It's you just learn as you go, and you can study it. So if you really want to try and specialise in it, then you can do that as well. Also, can I just say something about Young Hort?
Please do.
Young Hort is a new initiative set up last year by a team of young horticulturalists. I'm an ambassador for it, and it's pretty much set up to promote the young talent within horticulture and to assist those wanting to specialise in the industry. And we offer support for young horticulturalists who want to find more out about the career and help guide them how to get into it as such. So there's a website, and that's younghort.com if anyone's interested. It's really about getting more people into horticulture and getting young people into horticulture. So it's great to be involved with that as well.
Outstanding. I'll have the links up for Young Hort on the website at BackToMyGarden.
Wicked.
You're a tremendous spokesman for them, Dan. I mean, do you ever wear the gold medal around, or you just kind of put it in a case?
No, that'd be very embarrassing. I couldn't do that.
It's a tremendous feather in your cap, though. It's quite an honor.
Yeah, they're on my wall.
RHS has been around for over a century, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, fair amount of time, yes.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. The future's very bright in your career. I'm very excited that you've been on the show. Can we invite you back in about a year to see how you're doing?
Thank you. Yes, definitely. That would be really good. Yeah, I'd love that.
All right. Dan, tremendous. Thank you for being a great guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.